You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM and CKLU.ca. You can click on the Radio Player Canada app and stream the show or any other shows here on this station, along with downloading that Radio Player Canada app and adding it to all of your apps. You can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device, along with any other CKLU program. And we're also live streaming at facebook.com/Sudbury News and youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, all those things to our pages and channels, mainly on YouTube and Facebook during the live anyways. You comment because I'll do my best to read them for those listening and get them up on the screen for those watching. Also, you can catch the shows on demand on those two platforms, along with Twitter, now X, twitter.com/Sudbury News, or on our news aggregating website, which aggregates all the local news into one location. Very convenient for everybody. Sudbury.news. So that's where you can find the show afterwards. You just click on Sudbury News Talk tab and the show is there after. So there's many ways to, if you can't come on live, to watch the show afterwards and continue the conversation, at least on Facebook. You can continue to add your comments. YouTube, for some reason, I guess you need, a certain amount of people watching in order for the comments to stay up or something. I have no idea how that works, but there's too many platforms and they change all too often to keep up with everything. And just a one-man show here. So with a full-time job and a family and all kinds of other things on the side to do. So I'm doing my best to contribute to the conversation that tries to make sense of our ever-evolving world of complication. It's a very complicated world, and it doesn't seem to be getting any less complicated. And so we try to make sense of the community that we live in, and the region and the country and the world we live in, and all the things that are changing often, and trying to make sense, if we can, of it. And at least if we can't make sense, at least we have a community where we can file our grievances one with another, because it doesn't seem like anyone else takes grievances these days. So here we go. Let's dive right in. We have weather, a little bit of sports, and we'll be deep diving. Today is going to be, I think the theme of today is going to be government, which a lot of times it does come into. Government is affecting our lives more and more and more each and every day. And it seems to me to be, anyways, we are a socialist country in Canada, but we're always moving towards a more socialist society, and socialism then blends into and then turns into communism. And it's just the way things go, because the more government does for you, the more you need to be aware that it's like a one size fits all solution, which is never the best for everybody. It may be good for, the ones delivering the program that get the funding from the government. Maybe they get some jobs or whatever, and then it's not usually an effective way of governance or way of running your society, where the government is very not accountable, non-efficient, bloated, and usually runs things backwards. Like, I worked for the federal government and the provincial government, and so I know what I'm talking about by working for them. Employees basically have this attitude of just don't ask any questions just because it doesn't make sense. Don't try to make it make sense. And that's pretty telling of, and the more we get into this government does everything for you kind of thing, turns into a real socialist and then communist type of society. And most people don't realize what the end result is from that, because the thing we learn about history is that we don't learn about from history, quoting a famous philosopher. And that's just the truth, right? But we haven't tried a new kind of communism, the friendly, cuddlier, the more wise kind of communism. We haven't tried that yet. So let's try that, and we'll see what's going to happen. It's just, so what ends up happening is that with our climate, discussions that we have in our country and what everyone believes, or what the government, let's say the government is telling us. So the government is telling us what to believe about climate, and they're funding scientific studies that then say, look, these are what's going on, because they're the ones that fund everything these days, especially in Canada. The more and more private funding that comes from anybody is diminishing, and the government is the one with all the money, and the government's the only one investing in anything. And so once that happens, it's anything the government wants happens, right? And so the free market doesn't function anymore, and it's all government subsidies, and they control everything. Now I'm frozen on my main monitor, so I hope that I'm not frozen for everyone else. But we'll get into that and more. So let's just dive right in. We've got some local news headlines, which also go along the same themes of, can we expect transparency from those in charge, even though they're mandated for transparency on the local level? We'll talk about the police and things going on there. We'll talk about the provincial government funding the mining industry. Like, why does it always need to come from the government? Why is it always, just the government, everything? One-stop shop. Anyways, we'll be back after the weather, sports, news headlines, and we'll dive into that and more after this. And Sudbury Weather is brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. It's 8 degrees currently. It's sunny. I can't believe this is like the third, almost fourth day of sun. It's currently, it's 8 degrees, like I said, but it's going to get up to 19 degrees today. And then tonight, increasing cloudiness. 60% chance of showers overnight. Wednesday, showers. And the wind will be basically moderate. The high will be 12 tomorrow. So you look at your long range, high of 12, few showers Wednesday. Then a 40% chance of showers continuing on into Thursday. So far, they're forecasting Friday to be sunny and 15 degrees. And then no rain in the forecast for the weekend, but they're predicting that it'll be cloudy both for Saturday and Sunday. 15 degrees, 16 degrees for Saturday and Sunday. And then a 30% chance of showers on Monday, high of 16. Look at your satellite, a lot of clearing, as you can see, for those on the radio. Just a lot of clearing over our area. I'll see if I can refresh my page here, and if that does anything to my frozen screen that I'm seeing here. Quite a few more people are joining us as well, so hopefully the screen isn't frozen. But that's your Sudbury Weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with a little bit of a sports update right after this from the Sudbury 5. So your Sudbury 5, game 2 of the semifinals in the league. So they're basically were playing here in town last night, but unfortunately they came up short and lost the game to the London Lightning, score of 100-92. Coach Logan Stutz.
Shot making. You look at both games, they made more shots
here
in the fourth quarter. We're getting great looks. Our guys are great shooters. ball just didn't bounce our way 2 games in a row from the 3-point line. I mean, probably some of our better defense of the year, but our offense just can't put the ball in the basket. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the defense. And like I said, offense is there.
Well, look at that. We're just having all kinds of internet issues right now. Not sure exactly what's going on. But, yeah, that was Coach Logan Stutz talking about the Sudbury 5 loss last night here in the Sudbury Arena. And hopefully they're able to bounce back. They need to win 3 games in a row now in order to win that series. So it's a best out of 5, and London Lightning are now up 2-0. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more if we have internet right after this. Alrighty then, I'm not sure what's exactly happening on Facebook. It could just be a Facebook thing, because that's the only thing. I was trying to play a video from Facebook, and I'm trying to watch our feed on Facebook. So we might be good on YouTube, but we're not sure. So anyways, these kind of things happen every once in a while. So good morning, Vin. Welcome to the show. Hope you're having a great morning. Judy as well. Good morning to you. Monique. Good morning. Sudbury with a smiley emoji. And Marianne, good morning, everyone from Sunnyberry. Wow, 2 days in a row of sunshine. Liked and shared as usual. And good morning, David. Take care. Stay safe. Good morning from Belinda. And still looking at our Facebook with the circle of death, not knowing what's happening here. Good morning. Learn who you are. Unlearn who they told you to be. The test is not what you know, but what you have learned. Thank you so much for that. And it is true. We are the ones that are in charge of ourselves, and others may tell us what they think of us, but that doesn't define who we are. We need to, even though people may say negative things, and sometimes people say positive things too. And so, and sometimes maybe they say a lot of positive things. Maybe you're the boss at work, and they're constantly just telling us that, yeah, Facebook is glitchy this morning. Okay, YouTube is good. Yeah, not sure what's going on with the Facebook, but YouTube is working, so everyone can head on over to YouTube. YouTube.com/Sudbury News. It's that simple. You just punch that into your browser. You know that thing at the top, not into Google search, but that thing on the top, just underneath all your icons. It's an address bar. You just type in youtube.com/Sudbury News and you'll catch the show there. Morning, Linda. Thanks for being on. And too bad we're having Facebook problems this morning. Maurice, good morning. Smiley emoji. Denise, good morning, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. So Belinda says, looking at the skies above my home and seeing all the chemtrails they sprayed early this morning. Yeah, I was out putting out the garbage and there's a huge one just coming right over my house. Other than that, it was sunny everywhere, but now I look out and I can see some of the, some of them dispersing, looking like clouds. It's funny how many people I go up to and saying, look, how many clouds do you think are in the sky right now? And they look at me with a very puzzled look. And I say, well, none. And they go, yeah, but it's cloudy. What are you saying? I say, that's all jet exhaust. And then they kind of just change the subject or whatever. And I just don't know what that is. Even people who know what they are, like they actually kind of don't want to even believe it. Like they like, no, that can't be that bad. But it is. But oh well. Let them have this world and soon they'll destroy it. If they have full control of it, just go. Let's full on communism, full on, you just control everything and hurry up and destroy it so we can get on with some real stuff after that. Good morning, Liette from Collingwood. Thanks for being with us. Denise, blessings from Espanola as I was watching the flies fly around. Yes, Marianne, they will be spraying us today. We never get sunshine 3 days in a row. Well, there you go. And I'm sure they're doing some spraying, throughout the day yesterday here and there. It's just how much they do is the question. big spray right across the sky. Here, it comes from deep blue to light blue. Yeah, that's for sure. Isaiah, thanks for joining us. You're good. If only people would wake up in Canada. Well, thank you very much, Isaiah. And you're right. We do need to wake up to where we're at and what we're up to and what other people are up to and concerning us. Like I said, I think we're in for the socialism slide into communism. But let's just get that over with. Let's just let them have at her. Get to what you're doing and get it done and get it over with. And that way we can then kind of pick up the pieces and sweep away the ashes after you have full control of it. And there are people who just believe that full on that this is the way we need to go. And they need to then see too, like how that's going to end up. They'll probably end up blaming someone else for it because the people that did it will blame someone else and they'll just believe them. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like Facebook is back kind of running on my end. Brian, Facebook stream is messed up. YouTube is okay. Looks like Facebook is kind of back again. Good morning, Sudbury campers. Yes, Brian. Finn, you're not frozen on Facebook or YouTube. Okay, so maybe it's just some of us. Liette, third day of sun here. Still daily spraying though. I noticed chemtrails jets spraying at night now. Okay. So they're spraying more at night. And some people listening to this might go, what are they talking about? Chemtrails, what is that? Spraying us, weather manipulation, geoengineering. So if this is the first time you're hearing terms like that, we talk about it regularly on the show because as they're happening, we talk about them because a lot of people, I don't know if they hear it enough or just kind of why are jets spraying us every day? That's a question I have. I just look up and there's a bunch of spray from jets turning into clouds and then it rains. I'm like, and then people are like, yeah, it's cloudy out. No, that's actually not clouds, or they aren't clouds. It's jet exhaust that seeds, it just puts things in the atmosphere that creates clouds, I guess, you want to say fake clouds, or it creates clouds, man-made clouds that then, rain. And they've done studies of what's in the rain, what's in the spray, and there's some not good things in there. And then you ask yourself, well, why isn't CBC talking about it? I mean, they're the journalists that we pay for to, keep tabs on, being a watchdog for us, like being journalists. Don't they have the ability to look up in the sky and see these things too? Like, and then they will come up with a story and say, no, it's just a conspiracy theory or something. I have no idea. That's just been my experience with things like this. But it is what it is. You have to ask yourself, why is it going on over your head? Why isn't anybody telling you about it? And what's in the stuff? And what's it there for? Well, all these answers are out there. It's called geoengineering. They're trying to cool down the earth because they feel that it's warming up too much, and they're doing their best to cool it. But why isn't it just transparent? Why don't they just come out and say it? And everyone knows, oh, good, they're spraying today. Good, it won't be as hot out. Why is it a secret? It doesn't have, it's right over your head. I mean, yeah, enough to drive someone batty. Anyways, Pat, good morning. Thanks for being with us. A couple smiley emojis. Looks like sunshine emojis. Love those. Claire, good morning. I am late. LOL. Don't worry, we're just getting started, Claire. And Brian says, my 5-year-old son asked me what taxes are like. Really? Your 5-year-old son asked you what taxes are like? So he could understand. I went to the kitchen and ate 50% of his cookies. Oh, interesting. Okay. So he asked you what taxes are like, and you ate 50% of his cookies to show him what it's like. Exactly. Sad, a sad experience for him, but it's maybe he'll never forget it. And that's what's happening. 50% of our cookies are being eaten. I don't wonder if anyone takes exception of that. And the corporate, the capital gains tax or whatever is 66%. So someone's eating 66% of their cookies. Good day, Manick. Thanks for being with us. Denise says, I remember growing up. If you threw bread outside or anything like that, The ants and the birds would be there in seconds. And now, silence. Yeah, it was interesting because I dropped an ice cream one time. I was eating ice cream and I dropped it and we had an ant hill at the bottom of our stairs. And I remember too, as a kid, if you were to drop ice cream, like they love sugar, any food thing, the bugs are all over it, right? So the ice cream, they came up to it and kind of smelled it and just, they were repelled by it. And so wonder what's in our food we eat that ants don't want to eat it. Food for thought. Denise, there's reports that Sweden don't want the chip anymore. I didn't get all of it, but I'm going to be checking into that. Good. I'm not necessarily a chip guy myself. Denise also says, I also believe that towers are turned on high at night. People are waking up and they can't sleep. They have leg cramps and body issues. Yeah, I'm one of those. Don't get a full night's big rest. You know what I mean? There's always something. Terra farming. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly what that term is. I will have to look into that, Pete, but thanks for being with us and good morning to you. Terra farming. If you could just put a little explanation, cloud seeding iron oxide. So is that what terra farming is? So that's interesting, if that's what it is. I just got your other comment here just to see if that's what you're already expounding on. But yeah, no, cloud seeding for sure. It's been going on forever. Why don't they just come out and say, okay, today there's going to be this much cloud seeding going on, and you can give it with the weather prediction or the weather forecast every day, right? Cloud seeding will be 30% today in Sudbury. Like, why isn't it just known? It's being sprayed right over us. We're breathing it in, for crying out loud. It should just be transparent. Still joined NATO, steps away from freedom. Is that Sweden that we're talking about now? So now it's getting a little bit combobulated with comments. Sorry about that, guys. 3 or 4 lines in the sky already this morning in Sudbury. That's Debbie. So that's what's going on. If you never heard these terms before, just go out and look in your sky and see what we're talking about if you are in Sudbury. What goes up must come down. And seeing the depletion in our bugs and worms and other insects as well as birds that used to flock the minute you threw bread out, where have they all gone? Well, it's interesting, those observations. No one is more blind than those who have the eyes, but seem to refuse to believe. Ignorance is bliss, and that is true, and I think that is why people refuse to acknowledge those types of things going on around us. It's just kind of be observant, ask questions, and always be interested in what's going on in your world. And don't be afraid of the answer. Don't be afraid to find out what's really going on, I think is another tip that I could give. In 1992, Nancy Pelosi announced Agenda 2021, SDGs, UN control, etc. So Vin has the link right there. So if anybody's saying, no, that kind of stuff doesn't exist. The UN doesn't have Agenda 2021 or Agenda 2030. And if they do, it's all virtuous and for your betterment. And they're just trying to they're trying to bring the world together in peace and love. And we're all going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Well, if that's what you feel it is, you can read those particular documents. They're right on the UN's website. They are long. You have to read. You have to think. You have to connect dots. And sometimes we'll do things like that for people, but it's no good if people are doing that for other people. You got to do it yourself. Like, you're in control of your life. You're in control of your thoughts. Don't let anybody else, Well, I guess we're influenced no matter what. So I would just influence people to think for yourself, find out for yourself, and don't take anyone's word for anything, because you can find out these things on your own. So here, news headlines coming out from Sudbury here in the morning. You got your job market. This is CBC. CBC, job market in Sudbury, Ontario, tough for international students, say newcomer. There are currently about 5,000 international students in Sudbury, and a large number of them are looking for work. They say it can be difficult to find a job. And that is true for all of us. It is very, very difficult to find a job, and getting more and more difficult as there are more and more people and less jobs. So unless more and more people start more and more businesses to employ more and more people, there'll be less and less jobs. But it doesn't look like our government is for encouraging the free market and businesses to start up and grow and thrive. So that way students like this particular young man can get jobs. Here he is here. This is a story again by the CBC. So here's a student here, I believe. Let's see. Vinay Kokar says it took him a month to get a job at a McDonald's when he first moved to Sudbury 2 years ago. He says many international students struggle to find work. Yeah, it takes me even more than a month to get a job. It took me 2 years to get a job. So it only took a month. So that's good. That's why I find a lot of people, they don't have a realistic outlook either when they're going to find work. They said, I gave out 3 resumes and no one called me back. You gave out 3 resumes and no one called you back? That's not surprising. You should probably give out 100 and you might get 10, 5, maybe calls back. Because there's a lot of people now in our city and there's less work. So don't be surprised. You just hand out a resume. That's not going to get you a job. There's more to job searching than just handing out a resume. And first of all, what does your resume look like? So you got to start with that. You got to make sure your resume is done up properly, as good as it can be, and geared to that job you're applying for. It has to be customized for the specific job description of that particular job you are looking for, right? So when he arrived in Sudbury as an international student, took him a month to get a part-time job at a McDonald's. I was so desperate to get a job. I was literally handing off my resume everywhere, he said. Every shop, every restaurant like McDonald's, Tim Hortons, every food court, construction companies everywhere. So at least that's why he got a job in a month, because he handed out his resume everywhere. Kokar came to Sudbury from India to study at Cambrian College. He now works as a personal support worker, but has also stayed at McDonald's, where he's a hiring manager. So he's a manager now at McDonald's, plus a PSW. He says 4 to 5 people drop off their resumes at his McDonald's location every day. I wonder if he hires every one of them. Probably doesn't. Now that he's a hiring manager, he probably sees maybe why it took him a month to get a job, a part-time job, right? Because he's not hiring everybody, and all those students are saying, I want a job, and they're not being hired either, right? So many of them are international students dropping off resumes. When I did the interview the last time, there were almost 40 to 45 international students who were looking for a job, he said. So McDonald's job comes up, 40 to 45 international students applied for that. There's a viral video going around of an LCBO job. I think it was Southern Ontario in a small town. And there was a lineup of international students or new Canadians, just a lineup down the street for one job. One job. That's the state we're in now. When you bring 1 million people into a country in less than a year, this is what you end up with. And if you have this many students as well that we're bringing into Canada, which is great, right? It is great. However, this is the result too. There's good and bad. There's a yin and a yang, right? You win $1 million. It's great. But now every Tom, Dick, and Harry are hounding you all the time for money. That's not so great. And, maybe you don't know how to handle money and you've wasted it and now you're bankrupt, right? That's not great. So there's good, and then good can have bad side effects to it. It's like drugs. It's like, your doctor prescribes you a drug and may cause this, may cause that, may cause this. Well, but it helped you with the thing you were going. But now you have 3 things wrong. So that's what happens. Big government makes big decisions like this to bring in 1 million people into Canada. And now there's issues. So now how many people that regularly, like students, that have been here their whole lives, they're not international students, they're Canadian students, and they're going out to get a job. Do you think it's easier for them? Last time I was at McDonald's, the sense I got, it was mostly new Canadians or international students. It was mostly, if not all. So it seems to me to be that the students aren't getting jobs, period. And especially Canadian students that were born here and raised here, they're having trouble getting jobs, right? So it's just everyone now is having trouble getting jobs. That's the problem. Almost every one of them, they have been here for the last 4 to 6 months, and they haven't gotten a job yet. So Nancy Rive is the General Manager of Employment and Immigrant Services of the YMCA in Northeastern Ontario. She says that there are currently about 5,000 international students in Sudbury, and a large number of them are looking for work. And that is true. We see, I would say, approximately 500 students per month at least, she said. And at times that number is higher. And that's the number of people they're seeing to assist to help them find a job, right? Because they're an employment office. Rive says some students are looking for work the entire time they're in Sudbury, while others are looking to find work jobs relatively quickly. At the YMCA, she says those international students better understand the Canadian labor market and local expectations from employers. Their resumes often need help because, again, different countries have different ways of doing their resumes. So that is one small thing. I mean, the fact that there's no jobs is the main thing, right? There's not enough jobs. You put 5,000 people into a market. That would have to be that there was 5,000 vacancies all the time of people not able to fill those jobs year after year. And now there's 5,000. Okay, good. Now we have enough people for the jobs, but that's not the case. There's not 5,000 vacant jobs on an ongoing basis here. So now you have 5,000 people looking for a job. Just think again. Think for yourself. It's not hard to think what's going to happen, right? The organizational change manager at Spark Employment Services in Sudbury says international students looking for work need to be patient and should look into upgrading their skills where necessary. Be confident in your skills and showcase that to the employers. Starting in the fall, international students in Canada will be limited to working 24 hours per week off campus, down from 40 hours per week currently. I thought they only had 24 hours. I didn't know they had 40 hours, unless that's because, starting in the fall. So yeah, in the summer they can work 40 hours per week, but while they're going to school, they can only work 24 hours per week off campus. Let's see what the Immigration Minister, Mark Miller, told reporters when he made the announcement in April. To be clear, the purpose of international student program is to study and not to work. So Kokar agrees international students' main priority should be their studies, but adds the new restrictions will make it difficult for many to live in Canada while they go to school. I don't think anyone can survive working 20 hours a week, and that's on minimum wage, he said. And that is true. And these are all issues that we have, all because of decisions that our federal government made. Interesting, right? So you can see how a decision that someone makes in government affects everything and everybody. Not only new Canadians or international students, but everyone else as well. So it's something that's very important, the decisions that they make and why they make them. You need to know why they're making them, because when you know why they're making them, you might not agree with it. And don't always take what they tell you, because we knew there was one time when a politician lied, we showed on the show. There was one time, we know for sure, at least once in history, out of the whole entire world history, there was one politician who lied one time. We know that, right? So if one politician lied one time, maybe a politician or two could possibly do it again. We don't know. So don't ever take what a politician tells you face value. Learn for yourself. But you say, I'm busy working 3 jobs to survive myself. I can't find a full-time job, and I have to piece 3 part-time jobs together, and I can't get to work on time because Sudbury has speed cameras, and I'm late going everywhere. I don't have time to ask these questions and look into if politicians are lying to me or not. Okay. I wonder if that was on purpose. You know? I wonder if our society today is on purpose and not just an accident. You know, I wonder if this was somebody's vision of the way we should be, you know? So good luck getting jobs out there, everybody. It's not going to be easy whatsoever. Some are students, you know, who normally would just go out and get a job. It's just not the way it's going to be anymore. There's just no jobs. And if you do get one, like the person at Spark was saying, go back to school, get more skills, upgrade your skills, all that stuff, and then be more competitive in the market, because there's going to be 40 to 50 people, if not 100, vying for a part-time job at McDonald's. Welcome to your Canada. Thanks, government. We appreciate all the help that you're giving us. So police, there's an investigation going on at École Secondaire Catholique Horizon or whatever. In Valcarin, there was a message on the bathroom wall, this coming from Sudbury.com, there was going to be a shooting today. So like Tuesday, there's going to be a shooting. So they investigated it. Students saw it written on the bathroom wall. They're investigating it right now. So I guess today will tell if somebody's threat is going to come true. I don't know. This is what it says. The safety of the students and staff and our community are the police's top priority. They're looking into it. No other details. There was just the brief message that the message warning of a school shooting on Tuesday. That's all the information we have. So, also speaking of police, province refuses to talk about police board appointments. So 2 of 5 Greater Sudbury Police Board members are provincially appointed, but the province refuses to clarify how they were selected. The board is mandated with providing civilian oversight to Greater Sudbury Police Service and is thrust into the public spotlight each year when deciding on the annual police budget. Last year, they unanimously greenlit $78.59 million, and 2025 budget is $83.5 million, which includes the hiring of 26 more staff members and increases of a respective 8.09% and 6.2%. Although City Council retains the final yay or nay vote, City Council members have limited power in altering the police budget. In the event both sides disagree to stick to their guns, the budget is sent to the Ontario Civilian Police Commission for a final decision out of the community's hands. Locally, the police board holds the cards when it comes to how much funding the police receive and where the funding goes. This is why it's important to know how they were selected. But even though 2 Greater Sudbury Police Board members were provincially appointed, they refused to clarify how they were selected, right? So the police aren't being transparent, I guess, the police organization themselves, higher up. So if they're the ones policing us and making sure we're doing everything we need to be, is that a really good example that they're setting for us by not following what they're supposed to be doing? I don't know. Just a question, right? I'm just here to ask a question. And maybe someone has the answers. I don't know. It's crazy. And speaking of government doing everything for us all the time, Ontario beefs up supply chain funding for critical minerals. Ontario Mines Minister George Peary said today Ontario is committed to strengthening the province's critical minerals strategy in the global race to ensure there is sustainable supply for battery electric vehicles by spending millions in the science and technology to help that. So again, government money is going towards innovation in a industry that's not innovative because it's only government that's funding it. So anything just government is funding is not innovative. Okay? It's not. Government funding for everything doesn't create innovation. It creates people who are good at grant writing and funding, just getting funds and doing whatever hoops the government wants you to go through isn't innovative. Innovation is saying, come up with something new, not come up with something new if you do this and you do that, and you check this box and you check that box, and then you do this and then you jump through that hoop, and then you give us this documentation and you do that. Now you can be innovative. Okay, go ahead and be innovative. Here's $1 million. After all the hard work of just getting the stupid money to begin with, you're exhausted. You know what I mean? It's just a backwards system when the government is the only one funding everybody, and when they get their hands in something, it's just never good, right? So now you take there's health in general, right? The health of Canada, and you have the big government making these big decisions on us, and I have to thank one of our viewers, I think it was Belinda, for sending me this, but it might not have been. Belinda did send me a really great interview with a gentleman talking about the legalities in Canada and there's some really interesting things, the legitimacy of our country to begin with. And that was really, it was a really educational conversation that I heard on that podcast, and I want to go back to it and start looking into that. I'm pretty sure Belinda sent me that. And if she didn't send me this, then one of our viewers sent it. But it's from the Celtic Canuck. She has a really great way of putting things together, and it's about our drug industry in Canada and how the government got involved and how it's going and how it's going to be, and hopefully it doesn't come to a town near you.
They're specifically calling for decriminalizing drugs.
Yes, they are. And we are looking at where to do that, if to do that, how to do that in partnership with the provinces.
Conservative Pierre Poilievre saying BC's toxic drug crisis response is making Vancouver hell on earth. BC's premier pushing back.
All of this work is with an aim to keep people alive so that they can get into treatment, so that they can get the support that they need to hopefully turn their lives around. The request of the federal government is essentially recriminalization of the possession or use of illicit drugs in public spaces, period.
This means police will soon be able to seize drugs if people are using in public spaces or to arrest them in exceptional circumstances.
When Liberals have a bad idea, they can never accept that the idea was bad. Only that it must have been badly executed by the last person that tried it, which might explain why they keep getting sucked back in by communism, and their favourite argument of it's never been tried properly, ignoring the billions of lives ruined while they've been working out the kinks. Even in the face of BC's disastrous drug decriminalisation and the fallout that's come from it, Toronto is still pushing to give it a go.
As Toronto Public Health awaits Health Canada's review of its application to decriminalise personal drug possession, Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the application should be dropped.
Toronto's top doctor is stressing decriminalization is not legalization, and the goal is to treat addiction as a health issue, not a criminal one.
Again, with that other people did it wrong but mash up will be different mentality, which is the very definition of insanity, because no matter how many times they do this, the result will always be the same.
This is among the daily scenes in Vancouver's downtown east side.
People are broken. The smallest sense of hope is hard to come by, and optimism is in even shorter supply. As a nation, we haven't just witnessed the decline of Canada. We're not bystanders. We have lived it. And even if you are fortunate enough to have a roof instead of a tent and can still feed yourself, maintain gainful employment, and are in reasonably good health, you have not gone unscathed, and you know it. Life is different now. and not better by any measure. Yet in the face of abject failure, it takes a special mix of ignorance and arrogance to look at a collapsing province and say, let's try what they're doing. Which is exactly where Toronto is pushing to go, despite what Doug Ford might have to say.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford says the application should be dropped.
Reinvest into treatment centers, into health, mental health and addiction. That's what we should be doing, not legalizing hard drugs.
In a letter to the Prime Minister, the federal Conservative leader is urging Trudeau to reject Toronto's application.
I will fight this tooth and nail.
And the Premier also weighed in this week.
Give them treatment, support them. That's what we need, not say, here's some more drugs to take. Sometimes I wonder where people's brains are. I really do. It's unbelievable.
As you all know if you've been watching for a while, I am not the biggest fan of Ford. I live in southern Ontario, close enough to Toronto to have cause to go there a few times a year, and it's already not in the best of shape. But off we go, led by prime examples of how critical thought does not come with education. These people are qualified. On paper, you would have every reason to believe you are dealing with a competent and intelligent individual. And then they make policy and you begin to seriously question the standard of education in this country and wonder what in the hell they are thinking.
Mr. Speaker, what is driving this overdose crisis is the illegal drug supply. Every life lost is a tragedy. I met with Minister Whiteside this past Friday. We are reviewing their exemption request. Mr. Speaker, we have a clear lens on public health and public safety because we have a plan. They do not.
No. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
She's wasting time while people are dying. In the year after this radical Prime Minister granted the decriminalization of crack, heroin, and other hard drugs in parks and hospitals, 2,500 people died. The overdose death in the 9 years of this Prime Minister have tripled to the fastest rising of the 11 countries studied by the Commonwealth Fund. Nurses are afraid to go to work because they have to put up with addicts using meth, crack, and weapons in their hospital room. Even nurses are having to give up on breastfeeding because they're worried their kids will be contaminated with the drugs they breathed in. What the hell are they thinking over there?
And now we have Cruella de Vil. No, wait, I'm old and the eyes are going. My mistake. We have Eileen de Villa. Yes, the same Eileen de Villa that was out front and centre during COVID, telling you how important it was to mask up, lock down, and get as many shots as your arm has room for.
Watching distance, wearing your mask, washing your hands as much as possible. As difficult as I know it is at this time of year, these are the best things that each and every one of us can do to help reduce the spread of COVID-19 and to give vaccines the best chance that they have for us.
Thank goodness she was there for us as Toronto's Medical Officer of Health, an office of serious responsibility, coming out with the most irresponsible plan possible that will have Toronto looking like Vancouver's downtown east side in no time. She wants us to know that drug addiction is a health issue. So she wants to make sure they go uninterrupted and free to indulge in whatever it is they're addicted to. That's the medical advice for the health issue.
There has been criticism of Toronto's decriminalization efforts, suggesting that we focus on treatment rather than decriminalization. Decriminalization is fundamentally recognizing that addiction is a health issue and therefore requires health-based interventions.
And as if that wasn't as ridiculous a conclusion as you've ever heard, it actually gets better. Because she also wants to make it clear that just because they decriminalize something, it doesn't mean they made it legal.
Decriminalization is not legalization.
Which makes me feel ignorant because I always thought if something was not a crime, then by definition, it was legal. But I lack their superior education, so what would I know? I'm just an old lady on the internet with an unqualified opinion. But I do have eyeballs, and the capacity for the comprehension of what is right in front of them. And what I've seen so far, whether it be California, Oregon, or British Columbia, it does not work. It makes things worse. And instead of alleviating any suffering on the part of the addict, it extends that suffering to the community around them. Much like earlier with the communism example, they actually believe if they can just find the magic applicator for their formula, it will fix everything. With the height of arrogance, Karen always thinks she's the only one capable when usually it turns out she's terrible, but no one wanted the hassle of confronting her with how much she actually sucks, so they keep at it, expecting different results, and instead of accountability for what they have inflicted on us, they throw up their hands in shock and surprise and say, how could we have known it would end this way? We were only trying to help. Which brings the old Reagan joke to mind.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
As Toronto's medical officer of health, my role is to bring forward and implement population health interventions that improve health and reduce harms for every Toronto resident.
Dangerous drug policy in BC allows people to smoke crack on a public bus, to shoot up next to a park with people with children playing there, to blow smoke from meth in the face of a nurse in a hospital. Now we learn what the Liberals want to do to Toronto, what they've done to BC. The Leader of the Opposition sent the Prime Minister a letter asking him to reject Toronto's request. Are the nurses in Toronto getting people who smoke meth in hospital rooms, or will they finally reject the request?
Toronto has its own application. Do you think Toronto should proceed, or what's your message to Toronto
Absolutely
with their
not.
application?
Drop that application. It's turned into a nightmare. It's turned into a nightmare. I've talked to the Premier out there. It's bad. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, letting people do cocaine and crack and heroin. You got to be kidding me. I will fight this tooth and nail.
And I am glad to see Doug Ford up there resisting this. While I've never been a fan of Ford, he's in the right on this point, and I am happy to be able to applaud him for once. And the irony of his brother's situation through this whole thing is not lost on me, but that's not what I'm here for. Credit when it's due. And who knows, he might like it enough to earn more of it. So I'm all for encouraging the good behaviour while disapproving of the bad. And on this one, he is right. This is a good call. The risk to the wider community, the decline in every aspect of neighbourhood life, the safety of children, the people you're going to run across when you pop out for milk, the extra risk, the extra cost, and it's not like it's worth it. It's not like millions being thrown at it or doing anything other than widening its impact to include the rest of us. And maybe that's their idea of fair and equitable. Some people are living in misery with broken lives, and not a drop of hope or faith left in anything better. And policy like this does nothing but make life more miserable for the rest of us along with them. Some of us didn't make their choices, didn't have their lives, didn't go through what they went through, and while that should be a source of relief and something to be grateful for, it looks like they resent the fact to the extent that they're willing to inflict that upon us themselves. Because that's all this does. It doesn't save lives, it doesn't enrich the community, it doesn't solve the problem it claims as its very purpose for existence. It's a pointless, destructive exercise meant to indulge the virtue-signalling whims of a leftist lunatic who, when it comes to this particular situation, appears to have the comprehension skills of a lobotomite.
As Toronto's medical officer of health, my role is to bring forward and implement population health interventions that improve health and reduce harms for every Toronto resident.
You're not asking to help the addicted. You're asking to inflict the side effects of that addiction on the rest of us. So I, for maybe the first time since I've lived in Ontario, am on Doug Ford's side on this one. Though again, that's just my opinion. Let me know yours in the comments. And thanks for watching.
So that's the Canada that we live in, and Toronto wants a little piece of what Vancouver's been having. You're having all the fun out there. Why don't you bring some of that party down here, man? Let's just create a Lower East Side of Toronto. You know what I mean? Like again, these are not people that think clearly for the benefit of other people. They're political, and they have political agendas, and the exact reason for those, I have no idea why someone would perpetuate, other people being on drugs and just give them drugs on the taxpayer's dime and just allow them to do drugs everywhere. And that's reducing harm for that person. And then what harm is that doing to other people around, like with the crime and the killings and just being out on the street like zombies everywhere and having that go, just like, what is that good for society? You know what I mean? It's like it's inflicting it on other people. Exactly what the lady was saying from Celtic Canuck. So anyways, and then we're bringing in millions of people into our country who are expecting something a lot better than this. They come in and see all this on the streets and no jobs and can't get a house, and they're upset too. Like they're just saying to this reporter, right? They can't find a job. I can't find a job. No one can find a job. And there's addicts all over the place on the streets. There's crime everywhere. And again, these are policies made from government. That's as simple as it is. Like they're just policies. It's just there's decisions they make, and you got to live with the results of it. And there's many people who are cheerleading it on, and it's all for the reasons they say, and they have to live in it. They have to live in it too, but they, until it really affects them, they'll still blame someone else though, because it won't be the person they put in office, because it can't be that. There's just this cognitive dissonance kind of thing. There's just, I don't understand what it is. No, the person you elected made those decisions, and it's making that effect on your life. It is what it is. No, but it's for the better. It's for this, this utopian unicorn place that I've been told about that's going to exist somehow. No, is that the unicorn rainbow world you're living in right now that they promised you? Is that what you're getting? Is that what's here right now? That's what they promised you. And all these things they're doing, it's for that reason. You know what I mean? It's not going to end up in a unicorn rainbow world. I'll tell you that right now. It's not. It's going to end up in destruction and just a lot of bad stuff for, humanity, period. And that's what it's there for. It's promised to be something beautiful, but you get the opposite when it's delivered. That is all the time we have for today. Thank everyone for watching and listening, and we'll be back, God willing, same time, same place, right here on CKLU 96.7 FM, Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.